So I remember when I was around 12 years old and I was playing baseball, I remember hitting this home run and it was my second one of the game. So as I was rounding the bases and I was coming around third base, I did this Tiger Woods fist bump and I held up the number 2 to represent the second home run of the game. Well, as I crossed home plate, my coach approached me extremely mad with this angry look on his face, said, "Act like you've been there before." At that moment, my view instantly changed. I felt defeated, embarrassed, and pretty shamed. I didn't mean anything by this. I was just super pumped that I had hit 2 home runs in a game. But that one comment changed how I did everything for the rest of my life. After that game, I went back and I started looking at pro athletes, the ones that I looked up to. When I watched these guys, it made me realize that these guys that were doing these over celebratory types of things and then they would go and showboat, they weren't really taken seriously. And then you look at the ones that appeared, kind of boring. These were the ones that were the most consistently performing competitors. From that moment on, anytime that I would score a touchdown, get a hit, make a great grade on my test, I would always act like I was there before. I acted like it was routine. I took this focus away from being outwardly celebratory and moved it internally. Don't get me wrong, I was extremely excited. I was ecstatic about performing well, but I didn't want to have this showboat type of mentality. I wanted it to look like I was used to success. More importantly, I expected this out of myself, so I needed to act like it. Something that I would tell myself in terms of getting into this state is that I needed to play boring. What I meant by this was that emotionally, I was never too high and never too low. I was always very level. And that's really the approach that I took moving forward. And this same type of mentality and approach, I carry it with me to this day, and I use it in every single thing that I do. Now, over the years, I've learned that when you go from this overly celebratory type to more of an internally focused, very level, even keel type of performer, you're going to get a lot more respect. You're going to get respect as a leader, but you're going to also get respect from those around you as someone who is very consistent. And as an athlete, that's one of the best compliments that you can get, is being consistent. So in this video, I want to show you why being a boring person will help you become a better athlete. Now let's divide becoming a better athlete into 2 components. You've got mentally and you've got physically. We're gonna start with why being a boring person is going to help you mentally. Now, I didn't know that this concept was actually taught until I read Tony Dungy's book, The Mentor Leader. In this book, he talks about the concept of acting medium. In the book, he says, Jim Zorn, former head coach of the Washington Redskins and longtime quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks, said he picked up a phrase during his career that helped him when the pressure was on: act medium. Jim explained that in football, as in life, it's easy to be buffeted by the ups and downs of the moment, by our emotions. Now, this concept of acting medium, this is what Tony Dungy used to create a Super Bowl champion winning team, as well as creating champion caliber people. Now, he found that most athletes have trouble controlling their emotion, which is truly spot on. Now, just think about this. Now, you've heard the law of gravity. What goes up must come down. Well, it's the exact same with your emotions. So regardless of if you're in a tough, pressure-packed situation, or you're in the last few seconds of the game and it's all on the line, or you're getting your butt kicked in, you know that you could be playing better. Your demeanor should stay relatively the same. This is especially true if you want to be in a leadership role on your team and you want to have that respect of people that think of you as consistent. Now, I'm not saying that you can't be happy when you win or be a little bit angry when you lose, but a steadfast leader and performer, they're going to be relatively the same emotionally in any of these instances. Now, let's talk a little bit about why being a boring person is going to help you become a better athlete physically. So if you think about it, what do the greatest athletes do that, the average, younger, immature athletes can't do? You guessed it, it's the boring things. Success in anything in your life, but when it comes to sport, it's from doing the simple things over and over and over repeatedly. You can look at it as all these different habits that combine into one unique system that make up the process. You got training, nutrition, psychological preparedness, recovery, continuous learning. Specifically in sports, if you want to learn how to run faster, you need to be training how to run fast. You need to train the mechanics to run faster. You need to be doing the exercises to run faster. And then you actually need to get on the track and run at your top speed. You need to do this every single week. Then you do this over and over and over, and you create this progression, stair-step style program. All that means is over time, you're just slowly increasing the difficulty because you're increasing your base level of fitness. Now, like I mentioned, there's a system to this, so there's a nutrition aspect to this. You got to ask yourself, what foods are going to help me perform my best? What's going to help me build my body back so I can come back to my next training session recovered and ready to perform? How much food do I need? All these things, they have to be done through a process of tests and retests to see what works for you and what doesn't work. Then when you find those things that work, they become part of the process, and then that ultimately becomes how you get to be a better sprinter. I mean, you can see that none of this stuff, it's exciting or new. It's actually pretty boring. And that's especially true if you do this for years and years and years on end. But what you'll notice through sport that applies to anything else that you do in life, that there is oftentimes one key factor that comes to success, and it's simply outlasting everyone else. Outlasting everyone else mentally means staying focused on this process longer than anyone else can. And then outlasting everyone else physically means performing these very small details every single day in your training, long after other people have quit. So as you can tell, I help athletes perform to their highest potential, both physically and mentally. If that sounds something that you're interested in, just reach out to me, DM me, or drop a comment below. If you want to just start a conversation and talk about this video, leave that below in the comments. I'd love to start a conversation with you. Talk to you guys soon.